cities. Others are the vulnerable people. I've talked about them. Children under 5. Children under 5 are especially vulnerable because their respiratory systems are just developing. So when they're exposed to air pollution, they're going to get issues like allergies, issues like asthma, and even when they grow up, they're going to grow up with weakened respiratory systems. That's a study done by some people from Makerere about air quality in Kampala, and it's available online if you want to dig deeper into it. And they already discovered that the trends, air pollution is leading to it's leading to other diseases like CPD and respiratory illnesses within residents followed over 4 years. That's an illustration of why our cities are polluted. There is e-waste recycling, there are border borders, and then there are old cars. Of course, we also have street cooking. All these activities come together and cause air pollution within our environment. They release gases within our environment that are bad for human health. So that's about climate change and air quality. The connection between climate change and air quality is that the factors leading to poor air quality are similar to the factors that are driving climate change, like excessive use of renewable energy, using old cars. All these things lead to higher temperatures within the environment, but they also affecting climate change. It can also lead to improvement in air quality within our cities. Let me talk about a bit about deforestation. Of course, cutting trees. Trees are the major air purifiers we have. If you've noticed that environments that have at least high percentage of trees and high percentage of green spaces usually have good air quality. So even within our communities, we should really promote having green spaces and planting trees and reducing the cutting down of trees. And those are the effects of health. So what happens when a person is exposed to poor air quality, or when they experience air pollution? PM 2.5, that's the one that people are tracking about air pollution. Usually, when we're exposed to dust or smoke, we have protective mechanisms within our respiratory system. Can trap their usual particles and we sneeze them out or we cough them out. But the particle PM 2.5 is so small that it can bypass all the common defenses and it enters the body. When it enters the body, it of course starts reacting with some molecules in the body, leading to that process of oxidation. We're talking about radicals, reactive oxidative species. These things are dangerous to the body, and are the ones that lead to all these kinds of things like lung cancer. They lead to the formation of plaques within the vessels. And if a person is already having hypertension, then they are going to have more issues because of air pollution. I talked about that.
Dr. Joy, 1 minute.
Yes, I'm completing. So how can we as health workers help our communities and patients? So if we have to avoid polluted areas. If you know people who already have issues with their respiratory systems, and they have emphysema, or they have chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or they have asthma or allergies, they should avoid polluted areas. Maybe what I can say is that I usually see some people exercising along the roads during times of heavy traffic. This is dangerous mostly if you know your health conditions. When you are exercising, your body demands more oxygen. That means your breathing rate increases. But if your breathing rate increases and you breathe in more air of poor quality, that means you are going to do more harm to your body than good. So when you are exercising, try to find places with good air quality and exercise there like in peace. Don't exercise near the roads during times of heavy traffic. Don't even exercise places where they are burning like plastics. Find places of good air quality to exercise, because there you are doing more damage to your body. Maybe the other ways we can help our communities that keep plants and promote green spaces. I know there is a new trend of maybe building using pavers, tarmacking our homes as the trend, but really what we should really try to also put some green in here, at least a tree, at least grass, and communities, improve ventilation. You can also check your air quality. It's a new thing, like how you check the weather. Google can give you, if you want to check air quality in your area, Google can give you this data in case you have people who are weak or who have like those respiratory issues. In developed countries, even they can issue warnings that today there is poor air quality, don't move out, or today there is poor air quality, don't do this activity or stay at home. Then you can also eat well. If you are exposed you can eat well if you are living in such a place and it's unavoidable. Eat foods with antioxidants to help you offset the effects of poor air quality. Thank you.
A round of applause for her. Thank you so much, Dr. Joy, for that very enriching conversation about air pollution and its effect on health outcomes. I'm just going to take 2 questions. Dr. Kaima Ronald was supposed to moderate this session. Dr. Kaima, are you here? Okay, let me take over. Just 2 questions for Dr. Joy. In case the audience doesn't have, I have a question of my own. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much for the presentation. I just wanted to understand, how can you say the quality of air in Kampala is this much, yet we know that Kampala has so many points. Maybe the quality of air in 7th Street cannot be the same as that in Kololo. So how do you now harmonize that the quality of air in Kampala is this? Thank you.
Okay, one more question. I want to take the questions at once, then Dr. Joy can answer them collectively. The impact of the pharmaceutical industry on climate change. Recent research has shown that the pharma industry is contributing about 4.4% to carbon emissions. What is our role then as pharmacists to reduce this figure? Because we've overtaken aviation. Aviation is at 2.5% for carbon emissions, and the pharmaceutical industry is at 2.5%. And then one last one, how do we educate? Because I'm sure that all of these contributors to air pollution are because of human activity. How do we then message, how do we package the messages to ensure that people are educated and aware of the impact of their activities on air quality? Thank you. Dr. Joy, please come.
So the first gentleman who asked about how do we know air quality, the difference between air quality like in Kololo, in Machindye, in Kawempe. So there is an app in our app stores or Google stores that's called AQ Plus. If you download that application, it will show you the different parts of Kampala and their air quality. They are different. You just have to type in the area where you live, and then they will tell you the air quality. I used to regularly check on it last year, and I think the place which I noticed had shaky air quality was actually much in India. And it's understandable because it's a hub of very, very many activities with very little green. I think that answers your question. The second one is how the pharmaceutical industry. So the health industry in total contributes that percentage. And there are efforts to transition the healthcare system, because even the pharmaceutical system, the pharmaceutical industries, the pharmaceutical care system, from the industrial processes that produce drugs to the supply chain vehicles to when the patient is delivered and e-waste recycling, there are efforts, we are in efforts to really transition. There is actually a policy called the Health National Adaptation Plan. All those plans are there to really help the healthcare system and all those different points to transition, to reduce air quality. But what you should know about climate change is that it requires collective action, because you in your plot of land, you plant all the trees, but then your neighbor can cut them down. So it requires collective action. The messaging is, of course, you can tell your community the advantages and benefits of being involved in climate change efforts, and they are not so hard, the efforts. For example, just planting a tree or taking care of your waste at home properly, not just throwing plastic around. So we can talk to our communities positively in a less judgy way, because of course when you become a bit, let me say, forthcoming and judgy, someone may ignore your message, but you can talk to them in an empathetic way and educate them about the benefits of. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Joy, for that enlightening presentation. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Have you guys eaten lunch? Yeah? Let's give her a better round of applause. Our next presenter is supposed to be Dr. Eva Mugisa, but Dr. Evelyn, please bear with us. We have a presenter who has an emergency that he needs to take care of. So he's going to come before you. He's called Dr. Nsereko James. He's a principal clinical psychologist with Butabika National Referral Health Hospital. He's a lecturer with Chisubi University. He's an addiction specialist and global addiction trainer. He's also a child and adolescent mental health specialist, and he's coming to talk to us about managing mental health pressures in professional health. A round of applause as we welcome him to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. As they mount the presentation, I'm so honored to be here to meet a group of scientists. Like she introduced me, I come from a facility that takes care of mental health. I know as a society of pharmacists, it is a crucial topic in this area. So I'm going to be really taking you through some of the tips of how to manage your mental health. I know by the time you come to the end of this presentation, you will like it and you'll know how to keep your mental health in good check. Okay, so we start with a definition of mental health. What is mental health? According to WHO, according to WHO, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with stresses of life able to realize their abilities and learn well and work well and contribute to their community. So if you see yourself unable to contribute to your community or to cope with daily stresses, there could be a problem with your mental state. So mental health, that's a division. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we behave in daily life, as well as how we handle stresses. So those are some of the key things to note here, that when we talk about state of well-being, it's not just absence of mental illness. Many times people think that if you don't have a mental illness, you're okay. You may not have a mental illness, but your mental state is not good. When we talk about coping with the stresses of daily life, here we're talking about resilience and adaptability. You all remember during the time of COVID, that was one of the biggest check of mental state in the whole world, because it checked our ability to adapt to changes. So when we talk about ability to cope with stresses, we are looking at the resources that you have to adapt to changes. Changes can be anywhere. And then realizing our abilities. Being able to acknowledge your potential and to use your abilities. You can't wake up and say, today I'm the president of Uganda. Yet you are not. You're not really looking at your abilities yet. Then learning and working well, this is productivity and growth. And being able to contribute to society, that is how you're able to connect with people around you and to participate in your community activities. There are a couple of factors that may influence mental health. One, the biological. We know that most mental health problems can be genetic, or they can result from brain injuries or brain chemistry problems. Practice self-care. Practice self-care. One person was putting a video on YouTube showing that when you die, within this time, people will have forgotten you, people will go back to eating, people will do what? Certainly, that's true. You may work hard and forget your own health, but when you're away, people will forget you in a short time. So please, practice self-care. Build and maintain supportive relationships. Many of us, we have ideally nurtured problematic relationships around us. You find somebody is having challenges with his family and is adding on a girlfriend and another girlfriend, and another girlfriend. So I think there you're not really having very supportive relationships. Develop resilient skills and engage in stress management, exercises, and seek help early enough. So let's look at some of these one by one. Building awareness. This is as simple as knowing the signs of stress. You cannot take care of yourself if you don't know what the problem is. Start by identifying what are the signs of stress. If you see you have them, then you know you have to do something about them. Keep a journal or use an app to track your moods or triggers or coping strategies. Healthy lifestyles and choices. Yes, I know we are living in a capitalistic economy where money has become another addiction, but remember to sleep enough. So you need to sleep between 7 to 8 hours per night, because when you don't sleep well, that is the beginning of triggering or messing up your neurotransmitters. And feeding. Eat a balanced meal, a balanced diet. Have enough water, but avoid that water. Try to avoid that water that is called alcohol. Okay? You can have a lot of water, but avoid that water called alcohol and caffeine. Then you also need to factor in exercises in your lifestyle. At least 30 minutes daily. It doesn't have to be strenuous exercise, but simple walking or stretching or a yoga. These help to regulate your mood. Then stress relief exercises like mindfulness, meditation, breathing exercises, and relaxation practices. People have various ways of relaxing themselves. Some people relax with music, others prayer or arts, whichever is working for you. Then try to have healthy boundaries. One of the biggest triggers of mental health problems is when people do not set good boundaries. So learn to say no. I've seen very many people at the places of work where they are working under 1, 2, 3, 4 bosses, and they are the yes people. Please, John, can you do this? Yes. Please, John, can you do this? Yes. And every boss is giving you work. You end up having work overload. So learn to set boundaries. Set clear work-life boundaries. Some people go to their places of work and they end up getting into conflicts. Sometimes the conflicts are because of engaging in relationships. This is not setting clear boundaries. And take regular breaks. Have social support. Stay connected with family, friends, and support groups. The Pharmaceutical Society brings together people with the same profession. Please, this can be a source of support for you in your profession. And talk about your feelings rather than bottle them up.
Dr. James, 1 minute, please.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit faster. Positive thinking and coping. We shall elaborate on that later and seek professional help. So here's the elaboration. If we can understand this, you're going to understand a lot about how to help yourself. In life, there are a couple of events that we cross. But the way we think about those events, determines the emotions we are going to have, determine the behavior that we are going to have, and even how your body is going to change. Okay? Let's It's not moving. So let's get an example. 4 men get back home, they find their wives have left them. Are they all going to feel the same? Are they all going to feel the same? Probably not. Let's look at man number 1. Man number 1 gets back home, finds himself in such a situation, and what comes to his mind is, I will never have a stable family. My life is cursed. How do you think this person is going to be feeling? Sad. So the nature of thoughts that you hold in your mind determine how you feel. This person is going to feel sad. Probably even their actions. They may decide to keep away from people. They may have low energy or feel their body is so sick. So what we are learning from this is that the nature of thoughts you have will determine how you feel. Man number 2 is facing the same situation. Instead, he thinks, this woman has been seeing other men. I may have been infected with HIV. And work on always having positive thinking, we can feel better. If you can work towards having positive feelings, positive thoughts, even your actions are going to be in your life. What do you pay attention to much of the time? Do you pay attention to the negative events, excluding the positive events? This stress also occurs when somebody selectively monitors immediate rather than long-term goals. When you lose, when you have a bad deal today, and you focus on that, you're forgetting the bigger picture, the long-term goals. You're most likely going to be distressed. So, what is it that we pay attention to much of the time? This stress also comes when somebody sets overly stringent criteria for evaluating actions. I know scientists will have a problem. We set our standards really high. When you set your standards really high, you've set really stringent evaluations for actions. And if you fall short of your standards, you're going to feel overwhelmed. So, what is it that what are some of the standards that we have set for ourselves? This stress also comes when we make negative attributions for personal actions and engage in little self-reinforcement. How many of you praise yourselves for something well achieved? Many times we wait for other people to praise us. If they don't praise us, we feel overwhelmed. So you really want to manage your mental health? These are the things to do. So what does this mean? At the place of work, professionals may focus only on mistakes, criticisms, or failures, while ignoring achievements or praises. This leads to chronic dissatisfaction and feelings that you're never good enough. Stress builds up when people only see short-term
in a country where 1 of 4 individuals are currently suffering with mental health challenges, this could not have been any more timely. So now I would like to take... Okay. Dr. Blessed. I would like to invite Dr. Blessed Tentera. Please come and lead the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rogers. Mental health challenges. This is an area that is affecting all the fields all over the world. And I think more awareness should be given to the different fields, to the different professionals, so that they can learn how to really resilience. You talked about resilience, so that they can learn how to cope with these things, because they have found us and they're not living. We usually see in newspapers more Ugandans run mad by 2050. 1 in 4 of every Ugandan you meet is battling mental health challenges. But you know, most people, when they read this, the first thing that comes to their mind is laugh. But it's not funny. I think this is something that we should take seriously and really seriously. So thank you so much, Dr. Rogers. You are senior matter experts in this field, and we thank you for coming to give us such a talk. So I think because of time, we are just going to take any 2 questions. If there is any 2 questions from the audience, both here and online. Anyone with a question about mental health? Yes, please.
Good afternoon. Thank the previous presenter. My question is, I would have liked for him to talk about how someone can deal with what we call the toxic work environments that are very common these days, how to cope with the boss's demands, maybe co-workers you don't trust. We usually hear that your co-workers are not your friends, all those kinds of like office politics. It creates like toxicity within the work environment, and some tips.
Yes, and online. How do we educate the disposal of drugs? No. That's not on this topic. Yeah, maybe Dr. Rogers, you can answer that question.
Thank you so much. That's a really good question. If you can go back to the slides. Go back to the slides. Okay, so when we talk about toxic work environments, these are everywhere. One of the strategies is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. One of the things that creates toxic environments, sometimes there are habits that we get into. There is this habit of talking behind people's back, talking about so and so. From here you talk to so, you talk about so and so. Eventually, cumulatively, these talks are going to come around and create a toxic environment. There are bosses that do not know how to set clear boundaries. One of the strategies is being assertive and talk. Talk about what is disturbing you. The problem is that many of us are really not assertive. Instead, they are just aggressive. When you are talking assertively, you talk about what you feel and what you don't like. And you don't point a finger, you don't use the word you. Use the word I. I don't like it when this and this is done. I don't like it when you say things about me without me having input. I. So when you say you, then you're creating a conflict. Then another thing in toxic environments is we've talked about setting boundaries. We've talked about positive thinking. Sometimes people make comments, but if they are misinterpreted, they are going to change the way you think, the way you feel. So have a positive way of looking at things such that you are energized to address issues. That's one of the best way to handle toxic work environments.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. I think in the interest of time, we can stop there. And maybe as we finish this session, from me as a point of reflection, maybe something that you can take home is practice self-care. At least create a ritual that is just for your mental health. You know, you leave work, long-standing hours, you're burnt out, you reach home, maybe decide to listen to some music, do something just for your mental health. Thank you very much. Dr. Blessed Kitetera, Quality Management Officer at National Drug Authority. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Blessing, for moderating that session perfectly. At this point, I would like to invite the next moderator and speaker, Dr. Agnes Godoy, an industrial pharmacist, who is going to introduce Dr. Evelyn Mugisa to talk about the expanding practice scope, pharmacists in cosmetology and aesthetics.
Thank you, Dr. Caroline. My name is Agnes Godoy Okello. Before us, we have a topic on cosmetics and aesthetics. And with us here, we have Dr. Eva Mugisa to take us through that session. Dr. Eva Mugisa is very passionate about this topic. She's a member of PSU. She holds a bachelor's degree in pharmacy, Makerere, diploma in organic skincare formulation with Formula Botanica UK, and she's been a lecturer. But what I like about Dr. Eva Mugisa is that she's very passionate about cosmetics, and she's currently doing formulations for clients in developing, and she's developing her own brand in skincare and hair care products. So just join me. Welcome Dr. Eva Mugisa to take us through that session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Agnes. A good afternoon or a good evening. I'd like to feel some energy in the house. I'm a very energetic person. I'm requesting for my slides, please. So before us, we have an interesting topic that I was presented with to talk about enhancing our scope of practice as pharmacists in cosmetology and aesthetics. So by the mere definition of cosmetology and aesthetics, I think we have an idea that this is a virgin area and it's a niche that's just opening up right in time in the backdrop of some legislative changes. So without further ado, I'm still waiting for my PowerPoint, but okay, I'll start from here. So by definition, we have some key definitions here. I think I have some students, some of my former students here, and they'd recall how I drilled them in cosmetology. But by definition, you have a cosmetic as a substance. There is a basic definition that has been given to us by the WHO. Reference is made to the Food and Drug Authority in the USA. But it's defined as a substance applied to the body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, and or altering appearance, but without, and this is the critical part, without changing the skin's or the body's normal functioning or structure. In that last clause of what it does not do is where we get a distinguishment from what some people call cosmetics, but have actually necessitated an interest for National Drug Authority to look into the regulation of cosmetics. So I'll make reference to the National Drug and Health Products Authority Bill of 2025. Formerly, we had the National Pharmacy and Drugs Act of 1993, but as you're aware, there's been a process of repealing that, and another bill has been enacted and tabled in Parliament. The first reading was done, and therein there is an amalgamation of other aspects to bring into the jurisdiction of regulation under NDA, where besides just pharmaceuticals, we're going to have medical devices, we have cosmetics, we have nutritional supplements, yeah, and we also have herbal preparations. So it enlarges the scope of regulation. Now, in this new document, in the bill, there is a bit of a disparity, in my opinion, about the definition of cosmetics, because they cite a list of ingredients, APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients that necessitate regulation. And you will agree with me that with all the incidences and the emergence of so many cases of skincare, lightening, parenteral uses of cosmetics, quote unquote, there is need to draw the line and acknowledge that some are actually detrimental, setting a tangent where there'll be maybe a landslide effect into skin cancers and so many other issues associated, like with IV parenterals and etc. So there is a justification for pharmacist involvement, just looking at number one, the problems that we have at hand, the current status of affairs in cosmetics in our market, and especially the legislative changes that have created an opportunity for pharmacists. And there isn't really much engagement. Most of the people who are in this sector are not pharmacists. The owner of Label, he is an engineer from Ethiopia. So he hires pharmacists, but most of these enterprises, even with local manufacture, they are not pharmacists. So this is a wake-up call for us to see an opportunity. And there's so many, as I'll go over briefly. So first of all, as a justification, we have the legislative changes, number one. Number two, we have a public outcry on quality versus cost of cosmetics. And this presentation, by the way, is for the gentlemen in the house as well. Yeah? it's not only for the ladies, because when we think about cosmetics, we think about lipstick and eyeliner and that kind of thing. But cosmetics also are for hygiene purposes. So if you use a deodorant or an antiperspirant, yeah, or you need a chapstick because maybe your lips are chapped as a gentleman. So all those fall within the cosmetology and cosmetics aspect. So there's been an outcry from the public because people are beginning to realize that there is a lot of adulteration, counterfeits. You also have the quote-unquote authentic ones being expensive. The ones that are made in Uganda are basically shunned against, and they are pushed to a specific economic category. And yet there's a lot of promise and potential for us to even make our own, not only for local use, but even for exportation within the region and even beyond our boundaries, right? So we also have another point in the cosmetic safety concerns. This has been highlighted in newspaper, concerned citizens, even in community pharmacies. I'm sure you have heard people complaining about, you know, things that bleach, things maybe, some products that may cause local pruritus or irritation of the skin, counterfeits, and there's also new emergence of cases of, like, for example, use of intravenous glutathione in some people's boys' quarters in their homes. So you do not know if in addition to glutathione, they're also transmitting HIV and so many other bacteria because they're not doing it in a sanitary way. We brought this up to the attention of National Drug Authority last year, and now we are bringing you up to speed. We also have new and growing cohorts. For example, we have cases of albinism, yeah? Albinos. So we have the albino cohort. We also have a number of cases of vitiligo. They're on the rise. We cannot explain the etiology. I won't attribute it to climate change, but there are more cases of people, and people also becoming self-aware that they need specialized products. We have economic changes, taxation changes, tariffs, as some of those that we have seen in the US. I will tell you as a formulator that getting products or getting excipients from the USA is close to impossible because of all the layers and the strata of clearances that you need. So most of what I import as my ingredients or excipients come from the UK and other countries. So there is a bit of challenge in the economic aspect. You have environmental factors contributing as well. Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. So you have environmental factors. We have increasing use of herbicides in agriculture, and when they do apply those, they do enter the atmosphere, and they also coat the bodies of the people applying them. GMO foods have made a contribution to poor, there's an effect that it has on the integrity of the skin, the health of the skin, because the skin is the biggest organ in the body. So you have also, on the plus side, availability of raw materials. We have plenty here, and we also have a need for training the producers. You see, with a change in legislation, once the jurisdiction shifts to National Drug Authority, the kinds of people who are doing the current production, for example, Mama Lususu, or maybe someone who works with her, and basically that category of manufacturer, small scale, they are going to need trainers. They are going to need supervisors. And that's going to be us. We shouldn't push them away, but we should give them a reason to want to come and do BPharm or a related course that we can guide them with. So opportunities in the value chain are very many. I'll run over them very briefly in the interest of time. But number one, we have raw material supply or value addition. That is for the locally sourced ones or imported ones. Generally, cosmetics are divided into organic and inorganic. So the inorganic ones would be the synthetics, that some of which have APIs, and those, for example, salicylic acid, yeah, something that has an alpha hydroxy acid that peels the skin, because they have therapeutic attributes, those need regulation by National Drug Authority. But you have those which have been used for centuries, so things that have clays and plant extracts, and the literature and even evidence has shown us that they're safe to use just for maintenance. So in the organic skincare, which is where I specialize, we have plenty of materials. You heard what Dr. Diana Twine said, we are blessed with so much, and she would also like to see us utilize that. There is opportunity in packaging supply. I can tell you as a formulator that I have to import some of my packaging all the way from the UK. And yet there is one supplier in Kampala, just one like this. The lady is a herbalist. And she was trained by Dr. Nambatia, yes? So she graduated, she has a certificate, but she is the only person who imports specialized packaging material for cosmetics, excipients, colorants, binders, everything, emulsifiers. So when I am stuck and my consignment is not coming through, I go to her. And when I saw this, I said, wait, but pharmacists import medicines. Is this so hard? So there's a very big opportunity there. You also have branding and packaging, okay? There's people among us within the PSU who have that interest. You may have to work with graphic designers, but once you develop a brand, once you have an idea, then you need to do the logo and basically the branding package, and then do the marketing and content creation and put it out on the market. The brand will not market itself. There's quality testing, which requires labs, okay? And one of my recommendations was that the institutions we have, for example, must create hubs where we can be able to have quality testing done at a subsidized fee or even free for some, all right? So that accessibility to labs or provision of that is an opportunity that we can explore. Training and academia in institutions, whether private training in a formulation school or with a university, is available to us. Consultancy, if you need consultancy, I'm here. Equipment supply and maintenance. There is some equipment that you need to be able to do formulation effectively. And that equipment is best supplied by us who actually know what pre-formulation and formulation is about. We share some machines together with manufacturers of syrups and a few other products. And there are a few which are smaller and bite-sized, so you can take interest in that. There is social media sensitization, and that I would put together with the branding and packaging, but getting your voice out there. And in this, I'll also put that there are some mindsets within Uganda and in various ethnicities that are resident within Uganda that need to change. People may prefer someone with a fairer complexion and think that is beautiful. And the price that they pay to get there comes with very terrible side effects. So there is need for us as pharmacists to actually begin to sensitize people and tell them, look, there is good quality and there is bad quality. So don't buy CeraVe and then go and get Betnovate and then mix everything together. You're going to get issues with your gonads, etc., etc. So we have an opportunity, and we actually should, as PSU, push there even before we get into the manufacture. We have semi. Okay, thank you. So those are the opportunities. There's a few challenges that I've highlighted. I think one of these that I'd pick up is the cost implications. Cosmetology requires training, and there's plenty of cosmetic formulation schools. But within Uganda, we don't really have much to look around. We have some of the modules, so it would mean that some would have to go overseas, but it's well worth the price. And once we garner some traction and gain momentum, and we have more trainers and formulators within us, we'll be able to help ourselves. So thank you so much. I'd like to hand over to my moderator now. Perhaps some questions would trigger more feedback from me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eva Mgisa. We are indeed stimulated to join the cosmetics and aesthetics aspect of pharmacy. At this point, I would like to